Hey you guys, welcome back to part 3 of our video. I'm so sorry that I have been MIA and I know some of you guys are waiting on part 3, so I'm so sorry. Be patient with me. It's been a lot going on, but I'm back, and it's also a double upload week, so I will be posting another video in a few days, so stay tuned. Alright you guys, so at this point we are at the insemination. So you get up. I could barely sleep the night before because I was just so like antsy, like oh my gosh, tomorrow's insemination day. So we get up. I go to work half a day, and Olivia comes and picks me up from work. And I'm sorry, I'm outside, you guys. I'm outside. It's a beautiful day here in Alabama. My neighbor's like burning stuff, so I was like, what is he doing? Sorry, got sidetracked. So Olivia comes and gets me. I took a half a day at work because I just didn't know what to expect, and so I'm just like, okay. She comes and gets me. We had to be there at 11:30, and they told us to be there at like 11:15. So I just have no idea. So I'm just like nervous. I'm trying not to stress myself out subconsciously. So we get there and we, let them know we're there for insemination. They take us back to the room, ask me to get undressed below the waist, and I'm on the table. The first one, I believe I had on a dress, so I just had to take my underwear off. And so we were waiting, and I had to pee so bad, you guys, but they told me to keep a full bladder, and so I'm just like, okay, whatever. So our doctor comes in, and she has like this little tiny vial, and she's like, and I'll post pictures, and she's like, verify the donor number and where it came from and your name on it. And we verified it, and she was like, okay, sit back, put your legs up on the stirrups, and like relax. So it's kind of like a pap smear, you guys. They put like the tongs in your vagina and open it up really wide. And she showed Olivia. Olivia was standing behind her and was like, do you see her cervix or whatever? And apparently you can see it. I didn't ask for like a mirror, which I should have, but I didn't. And so Olivia's standing there, and she's like, okay, you're gonna feel the catheter go up. It felt like she was all the way at the top of my stomach. It was a little painful, but not unbearable. And then she told Olivia, like, do you want to insert the sperm? And Olivia's like, of course. So Olivia technically was gonna get me pregnant or whatever, right? And so she inserted the sperm, and they were encouraging her and was telling her she was doing a great job. When she got finished, they took it out. They took the stirrups out of my vagina, and they told me to keep my legs propped up for about 10 minutes and then come out, get dressed, and then we were good to go. I cannot hold pee for anything, you guys. Like when I have to go to the bathroom, I have to go. So I was like, Olivia, I have to go to the bathroom. I have to pee. And so I had to pee so bad, you guys, like 3 minutes or so after the insemination. Like Olivia had to get the trash can, and like I had to pee in the trash can because it was like so unbearable for me to, and it hurts sometimes. Like when I hold my urine, it hurts. So I like pee in the trash can, and I was like so embarrassed. I was like, oh my gosh, like they're gonna think I'm nasty. So Olivia told the nurse, and they were like, it happens all the time because people have a full bladder. It's okay, don't worry about it. So it was no big deal. So I kept my feet propped up for another like 6 to 7 minutes, and then they were like, you guys are good to go. So the next week, 1 week exact from the IUI, you have to come in and get blood work drawn, and they test your progesterone levels. They have to be at a certain number, which I don't remember that number because this was back in October and it's now April. It has to be a certain number. If the number is too low, they will prescribe you medication to get your levels to where they need to be. But if not, and they're fine, that just means that your progesterone level is to the number that it needs to be to where you can sustain a pregnancy and get pregnant. So my numbers, I went in, got my blood work done. They called me that night and were like, you're fine, your numbers are great, they're like double, like they're awesome, you're good to go. Take your at-home pregnancy test in another week. So the night, like at midnight, because my doctor made me promise I would not take it before day 14. So that like midnight, 12:01, I took a test, and I took like a clear blue digital test that says like pregnant or not pregnant, and it said not pregnant. Like at first, it actually gave me an error, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm peeing on a stick wrong. And so I was like, oh my gosh. I called Olivia. Was on the FaceTime with me. She was at work. And I'm like, Olivia, I'm peeing on a stick wrong. So I did another one and it said not pregnant. And I was like so discouraged. My heart sunk. I was so upset. And she's like, it's okay. Just wait to take another one in the morning. So I could barely sleep. And so mind you guys, it's a 2-week period. And your body's changing. You have hormones. Like, your body feels different if you've never been pregnant before. And so like I had all these signs, like I thought I was pregnant. So the morning time when I was getting ready for work, they said like you really should take your pregnancy test like in the morning because your pee is like the most concentrated when you wake up. And so I took another test. I took a first response, and it had like the one line that says you're not pregnant. So my heart sunk, and I'm like, oh my goodness, like maybe this is a false negative. Like my body is showing me like I am pregnant. So I'm like freaking out. So Olivia comes to my job that morning. We take another one. It still says negative. So in my heart, then I knew I was not pregnant, but I was still trying to keep faith for like myself and for Olivia. And I'm like, okay, we'll just go and take the blood test, because you still have to go take the blood test anyway when you're going through this process. And so we went and took the blood test. And I took it on my lunchtime. It was like 12 o'clock. And they called me at like 3 o'clock. I'm at work, and I stepped outside, and I could just hear her voice. She was like, Mrs. Pruitt. And she took like a pause, and she's like, unfortunately, you're unpregnant. And I mean, I just could not breathe. Like, I was upset. I was crying. I called Olivia immediately and told her the news, and she was like so worried. She came to my job and just was consoling me. And it's difficult when you're going through this process, especially like for your first time, because I've never been pregnant, and neither has my wife. And so when your body's changing, your hormones are changing, your breasts are swelling, you know, you're having like nausea in the morning, all of these symptoms, when you Google them, like sometimes Google is not your best friend in certain cases, and this process just happens to be one, because like I had all the signs that I was pregnant. My hormones were all over the place. My breasts were swelling. I had nausea. Like certain foods, if I ate them, it was funny. But I learned that's just from the side effects of like the insemination and like all of the hormones, like your progesterone level like doubles, the HCG shot, like your estrogen levels, like everything is like intensified during that time. So that can cause you to have false signs of pregnancy. And I won't lie, you guys, like it was rough. Like I was like it was an instant depression for a second, but then I had to pull myself back and say, why are you depressed? At least you went through it. At least you have the experience. At least you have the knowledge now. But then you also like get upset, because you're like, why? Like, why didn't I get pregnant? Like, when I tell you guys, my numbers were like, if not double everything they were supposed to be, like spot on. Like everything was perfect. My egg size, my progesterone levels, like everything was perfect every time we went to the doctor. So to not be pregnant was so disappointing. And then, like I said, your body's doing all these like weird things that you're not used to. And Google's like, yeah, you're pregnant, but you're really not. So I was also disappointed that I felt as a woman like I didn't get pregnant, so I can't give my wife a baby. Like instant thoughts of like, is she gonna leave me? Is she gonna divorce me? What if I can't give her a baby? Is there something wrong with me? Just all of like these instant negative thoughts ran through my mind. And it was just like also disappointing, because we were so excited to have a baby that we wanted to tell our family. Like our family knew we were doing this process, and our family was excited and hopeful and praying and fasting, and like everybody was excited. So I felt like it's my body. I let my family down, but most importantly, like I let my wife down, which was really disheartening. And I suggest that anybody that is going through IVF, IUI, if it does not take, get some help. Go to EAP or like counseling or something like that, you guys, because you're gonna need it. That's something they don't tell you throughout this process, which I wish that they would, because when you don't get pregnant and you're like planning for this baby. Like you're thinking, I'm gonna get inseminated and in 9.5 to 10 months I'm gonna have this baby, and it doesn't take. It kind of sets you back. And then you're also, well, I know for me, was pissed off because I'm like, it's about $1,700 per cycle, depending on where you get your sperm bank, how many doctor's visits you have. Like this first cycle was about pushing $1,700. And it's just very disheartening because you're like, you feel like money's down the drain. To be real, you're like, okay, I spent $1,700. Like, it didn't take. My body, I'm going through all this pain, my body's changing. You feel like a guinea pig on a table, like a science project that like it didn't work, and like you took a risk and it didn't work. But I just had to brush it took me like a week to just kind of like bring myself back, because people were asking, and every time somebody asked like, how did the IUI go, did it take, are you pregnant, it just sets you back. Like, no, I'm not pregnant. Like, damn, like I'm not pregnant. Like, it just keeps like hitting you. So we have tried again, you guys, and I will do a part 1 on our IUI number 2, so you guys can know what is going on. We did try again, and I can't wait to share this journey with you guys and just keep you guys on this journey. And one thing that myself and my wife always talk about is these videos, and one of the reasons we started my channel is that our baby, when we do get pregnant, or if I am currently, we'll see like what it took for us to get them there. Like, it wasn't just like a one and done. Like, for those girls that do IUI or IVF and get pregnant on the first try and it takes, and they go to term and have a healthy baby, like, blessings to you, like more power to you. You're blessed. Not that we're not blessed, the people that don't take it, don't get me wrong, but it's just like you're very lucky that it took that first time, because it's a lot of women like looking on forums and like on Google forums and like baby forums and like IUI forums, it didn't take. Like, a lot of women don't get pregnant on the first try, and it is very inspiring and helpful to other couples that are on YouTube that it doesn't work for them their first time and they have to keep trying. Like, I've read on certain forums, like, people have tried like 6 or 7 times before it took, and then they got pregnant. And it's just very inspiring to have other people that have gone through the same thing and that can relate, because myself and my wife are like the only same-sex like couple in our circles, and that are trying to have a baby, not the natural way. So people really can't understand. But then you have other women that, hey, I might not have done IUI or IVF, but I tried to get pregnant for X amount of years and it didn't take. This is what I had to do. So they share their fertility journeys, which was super, super helpful. So I will say, if it doesn't take, allow your partner or your spouse to be there for you. You guys grieve it together, because even though it's not a miscarriage or an abortion, it's still almost like a loss of a child that you did not have. And it's difficult because you wonder in your mind, like, I wonder if that child would have been a boy or a girl. Like, I wonder, like you just think about, like, wow, about this time, like, I'd be giving birth, or like I'd be this many months pregnant. Like, you just have so many thoughts that run through your head when it doesn't happen. So have a strong partner. Don't go against each other. Grieve it together and go through the emotions together is definitely key. And prayer. Like, for a minute, I was upset with God, because I'm like, God, I'm fasting, I'm tithing, I'm doing the right thing, I'm living right. Like, why not us? But my wife like had to bring me back, and like my faith came back and like brought back to, like, it just wasn't God's time. Like, it's all in God's timing. Like, when he thinks we're ready, he will give us our beautiful, healthy bundle of joy. But at that time, it was just not his timing, and he felt we weren't ready. And what I say to myself now is, I would have rather the IUI not take than to go 3 or 4 months down the line and have a miscarriage. Or a lot of our friends have heard their baby's heartbeat and then have had a miscarriage. And I took our IUI so hard, I don't know how I would have taken it to hear a heartbeat and then have a miscarriage. So I am thankful that God just said no from the jump, and then that gives us a clean slate to try again. So you guys, I'm not pregnant from the first IUI, but I will be documenting excuse me, our second IUI, and to share the journey with you guys. To all you ladies out there that didn't get pregnant on the first try from your IUI or IVF, if you're with a partner or spouse, or you're single, like, keep the faith. Try and see the positives in the situations, because it's so hard. Like, I still think about it all the time, like oh my gosh, I wonder if they would have, like, right now I would have known the gender. Like, we did this in November, like, I'd be like big and pregnant by now. I know the gender. Like, it's disheartening, but keep the faith, you guys. Know that it's all in God's timing. Of He's gonna give you that perfect bundle of joy when He feels you are ready, and know that it's a journey. So when you have that beautiful baby, they're gonna know that, like, wow, they were so wanted and so loved. Like, that's what my wife and I talk about. Like, our child is gonna know they were so wanted and so loved. And it's to be real, you also get upset. That's one thing people don't tell you. Like, there's so many people and children in this world that have, like, parents that are not the best. And so you see people that are not parents, like good parents, in your opinion, and you're like, okay, how they have a baby? Like, I caught myself like, okay, this girl can have a baby. She's having 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 children, not taking care of none of them. But myself, that is in a more secure place, can't have one. Like, you catch yourself. But you have to realize that just because that's their situation does not dictate, like, whatever God their plan for them, that's God's plan for them. But when God gives you your bundle of joy, for ourselves, like, I know right now we are traveling and focusing on other things, and it's just all in God's timing. So catch yourself when you start comparing yourself to other women, like, oh my gosh, my girlfriends had sex one time and got pregnant, or so-and-so went to the IVF clinic and got pregnant on the first try. That's God's journey for them, but God has His own journey for you. And so just keep the faith and find other women or women around you, or even like strangers in a forum or on YouTube. Like, get some support and get help. If you feel like depressed, or if you feel like you're by yourself and you don't have anybody to talk to, get some help and surround yourself with women that are going to be understanding, and understand that fertility is so up in the air. Like, you can get pregnant on the first try, on the 10th time, on the 5th time. It's truly God's timing, you guys. That's all I can say about it. So I can't wait to share with you guys part 1 of our second IUI. And prayers, you guys, prayers, good prayers, because everybody does not pray good prayers. Prayers for our family, for our next IUI process. And I love you guys so much, and thank you guys for watching.